Alright, so now we're gonna make some bread. It's always really good when you're making a beef stew to have some bread. I want to do something a little bit different here. I want to make bread with some white cheddar and maybe some pesto in there. So we're gonna do a little different this time. One thing that when you get a bread machine that you'll have is they'll have like a little a basket in there that you can add in nuts and stuff like that into. So we're gonna give it a try and see what goes on, and should be tasty. So first thing I want to do is get the water. So I'm gonna need 1 1/4. It's basically gonna be a classic French bread with just some cheese and pesto inside there. So it calls for 1 1/4 cup of water. You can get these recipes on the Breadman's website. 1 1/4 cup of water. And what they want you to do is have it at about 80 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And the reason for that is the yeast, right? So you want to activate that yeast. Helps dissolve the salt and sugar too. So I'm just going to put the in the microwave for, let's try 30 seconds. You don't want to do anything too crazy. But also what we're going to want to do is get some cheese going. So it says 1/4 cup. Cup is 8 ounces, right? So 1/4 that would be 2 ounces. 2 ounces of cheese. So I assume there's by volume. Or by mass, whatever. Just gonna do a couple ounces here. Let's see how that goes. And what I want to do is I'm gonna cube it. When I was a kid, I used to go to this really awesome bread place in Alaska. Still there, but they used to have this really great bread and have these little kind of chunks of cheese inside of it. So I'm gonna try to recreate that feeling for me. Nothing like a good childhood. Yeah, at this point, you know, I was just thinking about it also. If I coat these cubes of cheese in a little flour, then they won't stick together when they fall in. So they'll be. So one thing I don't want to do is have like 2 or 3 cubes sticking together. So I'm gonna take a little bit, just a little dusting of flour, and put it over these cubes of cheese. That way, they won't stick, and it's not going to affect my recipe any. It's just make sure that they don't stick. You know, cheese has that sticky consistency. So we got all that. Just coat a little sprinkling on there. Really all it is just getting that super touch a little bit. So it's nice and dry. Okay, so I'm going to put the cheese inside. Fill that basket in there. And that is going to be good. Inside there. Let's see if the pesto is going to work too. So got... oh, there it is. And if you've never made pesto, really all pesto is basil. And they just finely dice it and then add in olive oil. So if you ever want to make pesto, that's all you do. There's nothing to it. So I'm gonna add in some pesto. Only thing I'm worried about is it dripping into the bread before it's ready to release. And you just gonna want to almost want to, because I don't want chunks of it going in there. So what I would have probably done before this, like I did with the flour, is kind of what you want to do is mix it onto the cheese, so that when the cheese falls in, it's spread evenly. See, now I have that same problem. It's wet, right? We're just gonna have to go with it and hope it happens. Microwave really wants me to know my water is ready. All right, so this is just gonna insert right here. I'll show you. Oh, there you go. So we got our bread machine here. It's just it's a little tray. It's gonna insert right inside right there. I think that goes into there. Then we have our bread pan here. So you can take that out, bring it over here. And this is where we're just gonna add everything into. So first things first, we got our water. And the way, yes, it should just kind of feel like warm, not hot, just warm. That's the right temperature. Make sure there's no bread in there from last time. Just gonna add that in. Then it says add it in order. So really what you're doing is you want to add in the sugar and salt inside the water. There's two ways you can do that. First, you can mix it in before you add it into the pan, because you're not gonna want to scratch the non-stick of the pan. But either way, so we want a tablespoon of sugar. I got these really nice stainless steel spoons, so that's what I'm going to use. But if not, if you just have regular, see that's a tablespoon, and then there's 2 teaspoons to a tablespoon. So you can just do half. And this is not really processed sugar. What do they call it? Cane sugar. Yeah. I don't think they bleached it too much. Maybe they did. That's the kind I like to usually get from the store. The Modlina, I think they call it. Alright, we got salt. 1.5 teaspoons, so it's near 2 tablespoons between friends, but since I do have the measures, I'll just do it. And always do it over whatever you're doing so you don't make a mess. Ooh, 1. Half. Alright. 1.5, and then 4 cup flour. So get your measuring cups. It's quite a bit of flour. Just gonna mix it around just to get things dissolved in there. It'll dissolve later, it's not a big deal. Let's just go 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So we got our 4 cups of flour. One thing you want to do is you're going to make a little pocket in here. That's where we're going to put our yeast at. So you just make a little volcano with your finger. And then it says we want 1.5 teaspoon yeast. So I keep my yeast inside the fridge here. That's just Fleischmann's bread yeast, bread machine yeast. So that's what we're going to do. And it's not something you can, I mean, I don't know if it ever goes bad, but you can't ever have too much of it, so. It's got 1 teaspoon there, and 1/2. Yeast are really powerful. You know, you can use this stuff to brew beer with too. It only goes up to about 5%, and it'll have a little bit of a bready flavor to it. But yeah, if you ever need to make a brew in a pinch, you can always use yeast. Any kind of yeast, really. These bread machine yeast is pretty pure though. So, and then what's cool about yeast is they learn what they're brewing with. So your first batch might not be as good, but your second batch is going to be more tuned to beer. All right, and so it says right on here I got basic, quick, French. So we're going to go French. So we're going to go menu to 3 here, and then I have nut checked, so that's gonna drop. And my loaf size is 2 pound. That's good color. You know what? I almost want to go a little light, but don't want to go dark. I think I'm gonna just go light this time. So I got nut. Yes, yeah, we want nut. And then all we do is press play. Don't forget, if you ever had a mom making bread, you probably know this too. You don't want to slam doors and stuff like that. Pressure waves make your bread sink. So especially when it's rising, sometimes it's really critical not to be slamming doors. So you know, if you got cabinets you need to close, stuff like that, best to do it now and try not to. But either way, it'll taste good either way. It's just, so yeah. So you look down in there. There it goes. It's just plugging away. We're just gonna wait. It has the timer on there, and it'll also keep your bread warm. So we're just gonna let it go and do its deal, and that's how you make bread. And yeah, it's always this is gonna be even better because it has the pesto and the nice New York white cheddar in there. It's gonna be killer. So yeah, that's how you make bread.